What's up, Bills Mafia? I'm Fernando Schmude. That's your leading the charge. And today I'm really, really happy and glad to be able to reunite those two awesome women. I've been trying to do that, or I've been keen on doing that for a long time now. And finally, today we are able to have them back together. I used to listen to them when I was still a soccer player, was like in the off season. So that's a great story. I actually gotta tell her. So tell them. So let me introduce you, Bills Mafia, the Mafia Mavens, Robyn, Mundy, and uh, Danyel, Renee. Girls, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really, really happy to have you there. How you doing, ladies?
Danyel, you go first.
Oh, I'm great. I'm just busy with mom life, and my daughter's entering high school this year. She's a cheerleader and just busy with all that kind of fun stuff and having fun with rumblings and, the new season coming. And it's been a crazy year for me. So I'm doing well.
Great.
Awesome.
Great. Well, same here. Don't have any cheerleaders in the house, but we're doing fine here in Wyoming with the rattlesnakes and the bears, as I was telling Fernando.
Yeah.
It's just fun and games. I also mentioned, and Danyel, you'll love this because you remember back in the day, I was the only Bills fan in Wyoming.
Uh-huh.
I never saw another Bills fan throughout the whole state, and I've been here for 33 years. And since we drafted Josh Allen, oh my goodness, we have our own version of the Mafia here, the Wyoming Bills Mafia. And I can't believe how many people I see in 17 jerseys and even other jerseys, because you would think it would all be Josh Allen, but no, I've seen James Cook. I've seen Dalton Kincaid.
They're going all out now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's pretty amazing. I have to say, and I just would like this one moment to say thank you to both of you, because this is a reunion that has been in the makings for a while.
Yes.
And Danyel is incredible. That's like put it in one word. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. Also want to give a heads up to Tiffany, my current podcast partner in crime. We do a Thursday podcast at, I believe it's 11 a.m. on Thursdays live. And it's called Tea Time with Robyn, and she's awesome too. So it's kind of cool to have more women being involved in podcasting. And shout out to all the great guys at Buffalo Fan Base, especially Dean Kindig, who's having a birthday today. Happy birthday, Dean!
Awesome.
Oh, happy birthday, Dean.
He's
That's
our
awesome.
draft
Awesome
guy.
news. He's awesome.
Mhm.
He comes in,
He's
he
so
brings all
smart.
those spreadsheets and pre-draft. People here in Brazil go crazy with his scouting. They love him.
I'm happy to hear you say that, and I hope he's listening, because if he's not listening, I'm going to make him listen to this podcast, because he needs to hear the shout out. So many people follow him, and I don't think he realizes how many people follow him religiously. He's like my main source for the draft. I love, getting sources from everywhere, but Dean is so thorough. He also does 200 interviews. The top 200, he does like personal. He looks at the personal interviews and everything. I mean, he's very thorough.
I love his spreadsheets and number. I just love that. That's a me thing.
That is a you
he
thing.
always shares them with us. He sends it. We don't need even to ask, and he sends it.
He just posts it up,
and we have all the information. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's awesome.
Okay.
And I was actually saying it before introducing you, but I love to have you back together. And today I'm planning on just letting you talk, and talk Bills, because I want to listen again. I used it back in 2019. I was still playing soccer professionally, and I remember the off seasons. I used to go for a run outside and to stay in shape for the next season. And always the Mafia Mavens podcast was a go-to
Oh,
podcast. I used it to listen all the time when going for my runs,
Oh,
and
Fernando.
since having you separately here, I mentioned off screen, like, man, we need to bring you back together for a
Hmm.
show, and I'm so glad you have been able to join me today to talk some Bills. A new season just about to start. I know for sure you are very positive people. You root for the Bills and you really hope for the best, and you aren't like some. I even I am some very negative sometimes, but
no,
I think you
no.
are
Yeah.
very positive, and I think it's very good to start a season like this, with positive people talking to Bills Mafia why we should be really confident for this season. And I'd like to start with that. Like, how confident and how excited are you for this new season about to begin?
Want me to go first?
Yes, absolutely. I love to hear your voice.
Oh, I still have my sesses. Remember those that you used to
I
drive me
do.
crazy? Uh, old joke. So my expectations for the Bills this season. Okay, you have to remember I'm coming from the vantage point of having just joined the 70 club. I'm 70 years old now, and I've been through a lot of Bills seasons over the years, like all of them throughout the years. And I have high expectations for the Bills this year. I'll get into more detail when we talk more about the defense, but I have very high expectations, in part because I have that just one before I die kind of thing going. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, can we do this? Can we just get it done?
Hmm.
So many people feel the same way. This is our year. Uh, we're all in, I believe. What do you think, Danyel?
Yeah, it's so hard because since we've been good, especially the last few years, I try not to have any expectations because
Mm,
I just want to enjoy them being a consistent playoff team. But I'm going to tell you one thing that it's sort of, an intangible thing that gives me a lot of hope. And that's the fact that Josh Allen married his best friend this year. So I think that will play into him just being outstanding, probably more than we've ever seen him,
mhm.
more than anything, because he doesn't have to worry about that part of his life now. He's happy, he has support, he's excited, and he can be more calm in that part of his life. And I think that's going to translate big time onto the field.
I couldn't agree with you more. This is something that's probably not talked about enough. And I'm trying to remember now who did this, but somebody, oh, it was Kyle Brandt from Good Morning Football.
Mhm.
Mhm.
He did a little 4 or 5 minute video about how all these teams, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? I'm 70. I'm allowed to do this.
I do too.
Okay.
Oh,
I was going with this somewhere. Oh, Kyle Brandt. Yes, he did a study about quarterbacks, about actually any position, the highly skilled players, the really, really highly skilled players that get married.
Mhm.
What kind of a season do they have the following year after their marriage? And there were, I think, 14 or 15 different players that he looked at. Every single one of them had a career year.
Yeah, I believe that 100%. I gotta see that now. That's interesting.
Check it out,
I
Danyel,
will.
because I thought, wow, because I'm sure that's on YouTube. That was impressive to me. And I also couldn't agree more because Josh is a very sensitive man.
Hmm.
And everybody compares him to a Labrador retriever, which is probably a good choice in a dog model. because he's just a big bag of love.
Yes.
And when his personal life, and I don't want to rehash all that stuff, but when his personal life was not good, you could certainly see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring this up because we all are affected by that, aren't we? Like when things aren't going well in our personal lives, how can we expect to be at our best?
Right.
And all you have to do is look at Josh now, and this is a woman thing. I'm sure Danyel will know exactly what I'm saying here. But all you have to do is look at Josh Allen right now, and he looks like a different man.
Absolutely.
People
100%.
have mentioned it.
Hard Knocks is giving us an opportunity to watch behind the scenes and practices
Oh,
more
Hard
than ever,
Knocks.
right? And you can see how he carries himself and how happy he seems in practice, and it's impressive because you can feel like he's at the right spot as a leader, but also as one of the guys. People always talked about him like as one of the guys, and I remember even before last season when even McDermott and Bean were talking about, even from Pegula, people kind of demanding him to become more one of the guys from the front office kind of leadership, and
Yes.
And now you can see him like one of the guys, but totally in command of the offense and of the wide receiver room. Like, I need you there. You got to be here. Like the balance is impressive.
It is. And when you are happy, everything flows from that.
Right.
Everything flows from that. And I can't underscore how much I agree with you, Danyel. I think his personal life being in order is going to make a huge difference for him on the field. And it will be interesting to see because people have been making a big deal about the fact that he hasn't played in the preseason. I'm okay with that. I'd rather he not get
I'm good with it. Yep. He's going. He knows what he's doing. He's a veteran now, and I would be willing to bet, because his personal life is so much more settled and everything else, and he's happy, that he is a more confident than he's ever been probably in his whole career. So yes. I think, I'm not worried about him being rusty because he does enough on his own. He's fine.
He does. I cracked up this week because I think it was a couple days after the training camp was over and they moved back from Rochester, and he called Dion, I think it was, and said, "I miss you guys. Come on over."
I think, right? My Gover wife. Yeah, she talked about it. Yeah, she talked about it.
Yes.
That's so cute. Yep. He wears his heart on his sleeve, that guy. He really does.
He does. And some people can say that might be a limitation. I don't see it that way at all. I think he's passionate. If you looked at him on the sidelines in that Bears preseason game last week, oh my God, you could just see that he was like, can I please? I just want to go in there. And this is just like too painful to watch. It was very interesting to see Josh's response on the sidelines because he just wanted to be in there. But I'm glad that he wasn't.
Well, I have a little story from last night. Actually, it was my daughter's first. It was the football team's first game, so she was cheering at Friday Night Lights last night, and her stunt group is really good, but they failed to do this one stunt that they needed to do, and they were all upset. And my daughter had some tears rolling down her face while she's cheering. And I'm like, honey, I said to her, the best athletes like Josh Allen, I said, what they do is they take that play that they didn't make and they put it in the rear view and they keep going because they know they can do better next time. And I said, that's what you got to do. Don't worry about it. Nobody noticed as much as you did. Let it go and be better next time. So I use Josh Allen as an example there as well, because that's the thing. Like, he might wear his heart on his sleeve, but he also can get past things really fast, much faster than a lot of other athletes. And that's what makes him so special.
It does. And you bring up a really good point. There's, what your daughter went through is a good example of, okay, this was something that we didn't get accomplished today, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to use that and experience that you get from it and catapult that ahead. And Josh does that so well. He has a winner's mentality, And part of being a winner is just like Danyel said, being able to say, you know what, that was a bad play. Let's move on.
Right. Compartmentalize it. Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
That's so true. And the initial comment, it's awesome because every podcast, we all as Bills fans or content creators, we are analyzing everything, going through plays, personnel, players, everything. But
Mhm.
people forget that those are human beings. You know, they are
Yes.
people like us, and the off the field stuff, the family stuff, everything really matters. You know, like
Mhm.
and having Josh now maybe the happiest he's ever been as a Bill, right? Also via Hard Knocks, we could see him talking to Taylor Lewan and forgot the former linebacker's name now, but the busing with the boys and they asked him to about some stuff, some about jokes and playing a role if he plans of playing a role in a movie with Haley or something, and what's
Oh,
if
that's
they and he said what's the biggest role he ever played, and he was like, oh, being her husband, right?
Oh, yep.
And then you could see he's really happy, right? And
oh,
in
you can't.
definitely it can translate to the field positively and help him out, no doubt, right?
You can't fake that.
No.
Yeah.
And
You
I've been a
can't.
fangirl of Haley Steinfeld's. I mean, like, when I saw The Edge of 17, I was like, this girl's great. Great actress. She seems down to earth, beautiful. And then just like everything that I've seen her in, and I've listened to her music. So I've always had a little obsession with her.
That's
And when
cool.
they got together, like, oh, I was like, that's the one for him. She is perfect. And I'm so glad that they're together now. Like, congrats to the both of them.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and she's almost an Avenger, so kind of fits with Josh, right? If Josh is
Exactly.
kind of Superman, she's almost an Avenger. So
Yep.
awesome stuff. And talking about Josh might be being rusty a little bit for not playing in the
Mm.
preseason. You already shook it off, but I gotta tell you one thing. I'm kind of worried about this week one game against the
Oh,
Ravens, because I really think maybe they are. We
they're not
have a
going to be
history with
ready.
the Chiefs, but if we look at on paper and coaching players, maybe the Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now. In my opinion, they are, but it's debatable, obviously. And we know Lamar hasn't been able to be like Josh for extra point play at his best in the postseason, but in the regular season, the guy is a beast,
Mhm.
and they are coming for vengeance.
Oh,
We know how we beat the Chiefs during regular season after losing the postseason. So it's not like starting the season against the Cardinals like last year, and it's almost playing for the number one seed maybe in the week one. It could
oh.
go and about that, right? So how do you feel about this first matchup, and especially also looking at the Bills preparation, because this last game against the Bears was ugly, and I know a lot of backups, a lot of guys that won't be there in the regular season, but at the same time, we know how McDermott is a coach with that really demands from his players a certain level standards, like he says. And kind of 2 or 3 years ago, we used to win every preseason game exactly because of that. He didn't treat those games like, oh, it's nothing. He demanded his squad players, his backups, his third stringers to perform and to be up to the standards. The Bills are supposed to be a deep group. We don't have many superstars, but we have a lot of good players. And
Mm-hmm.
then this preseason is not going so well, and a big time matchup in week one. How concerned are you, or you can separate stuff and you think, no, regular season starts, it's a different situation, and the Bills will be fine?
I'll start off with this one. I've been on record. I even wrote in our blog that I'm concerned about the Ravens game. I could easily see the Bills dropping this game because they have been very up and down in season openers since Josh has come along. Some good games, some not so good games. And you're right, Fernando. In my opinion, the Ravens are definitely top of the AFC. Top of the AFC. I would even venture that they may be better than the Chiefs this year, but I could be wrong about that. But it's just a feeling. But this game is fraught with all kinds of problems. First of all, what is going on with Trey White? We don't know what's happening with Trey White. And until we know what's happening with Trey White, I think the whole defensive backfield is going to be at risk if he can't play. Dane Jackson may be a better solution than some people think, but he's still not. The way that Trey White was looking in the preseason, he was clearly up to form, clearly passionate about coming back. My heart just ripped in two when I read the post from Sal Capaccio that he went out of practice. It was an 11-on-11, I guess. And it's hard to say what's going on with him. Who knows? Could be terrible. Could be, maybe it could hopefully turn out to be something minor. I don't know. But I'm not optimistic about the Ravens game. I don't think that we match up well without Hoyt, Ogunjobi. Our 3 new rookie defensive linemen they're rookies. We'll get into that later because we have to talk. I just have to say, you guys, we have to talk about Deion Walker because he is my hunk of burning love. And yes. I honestly believe that he is going to make such a difference in our defense this year. But he's a rookie. And so the first game, Sunday Night Football, all of that, if the balls bounce our way, okay. We do have one rumor that I read, I think yesterday, that it was being kept quiet, but Lamar Jackson was out of a practice because someone stomped on his foot.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't read that one yet.
Oh, well, I hope it's true. No offense, Lamar, but yeah, I don't think we stack up well.
Sorry for interrupt, Robyn. I think the latest news were about Adam Schefter tweeting that, and then Lamar kind of laughing because Schefter tweeted something about it's worse than the Ravens said to the press,
right.
and then Lamar kind of laughed emoji on the comments, but it's something to monitor. And also Jair Alexander, they traded for him. He's supposedly to be a big time reinforcement, but he hasn't practiced at all since the last season, right? So they have the trouble as well.
If Lamar doesn't play, our chances are much better. Yeah. But when you have the double head, when you have Lamar and you have Derrick Henry, you have a problem. So I don't know.
Almost impossible. I'm with you there because I always say the Ravens are the one team that have always scared me since they came into the league. Like and especially the last few years, we don't really match up well with them. Stopping the run and the big run plays just gash us. And like you said, there's a lot of rookies coming in. There's a lot of, unknowns and, some safety concerns and things. So I don't have a lot of confidence in this game. So I think this is definitely one of those games that I have probably no expectations for. Mm-hmm. But I also don't think that it will determine the season either because because we don't match up well with the Ravens, I mean, that doesn't mean that other teams won't. Every year is so different, so you just don't really know who's going to be the team. Yes, we think it's the Ravens, and I think we have every right to think that, but it could be someone completely different. You don't know.
Right, and their division, too, is bruiser division. They always beat each other up.
Exactly.
So we'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, it sounds like we're kind of all on the same page with this in terms of that's a big game to open the season. That's a big game.
No doubt.
Lettuce in Buffalo, but honestly, a lot of this is just going to depend on how our rookies do.
Maybe it's good to get the tough ones out of the way, though, like the ones like that.
Yep.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Again, put it in the rear view if we do bad. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
Finish
True.
strong.
The thing is, maybe most of the people, with the way we played in the preseason, if we lose week 1, people panics, like, oh my God, this is, and that's the worst thing. But about the Ravens, still, you said a lot of great things, and still talking, we have like a pair of rookies inside as defensive tackles, but even Dion is my guy. I really loved the pick, and I wanted him badly, pre-draft. But even at his size, he's not that run stuffer, Sam Adams kind of defensive tackle. He's a pass rusher. He's nimble on his feet, right? He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And TJ, another penetrator, another guy who's a great pass rusher. But to stop the run, that ground and pound game with Derrick Henry all game long, it's not a great matchup for our defense, And on the other side of the ball, even if the Chiefs have been so tough for us in playoffs, Josh has been able to play really well against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Against the Ravens, it seems it's always difficult for Josh. I don't remember a game against the Ravens where Josh could make it look easy, where our offense really dominated. No, it's always tough. They always can create some turnovers or make it tougher for the passing game. And even in the last playoffs game, we surprised them running the ball in the first half and being able to move the chains running the ball. But passing, it wasn't easy, and so that's why I think it's so tough. And this first game really worries me a little bit. But still, you mentioned safety also, right? The safety position has been a question mark now for Bills Mafia. I need to tell you, some stuff surprised me, because it was only Bishop and Hamlin playing against the Bears, and Bishop is like missing practice time. He's coming from injury. He's literally playing because he needs the snaps to get back on track in his development, his conditioning, everything. And then in 12 snaps, people forgets everything he did the entire season last year, forgets the game against the Chiefs where he started, and by 1 inch, he didn't make an interception that could change the game. That play that Murphy could bring it down.
Right.
And people forget it and are like, oh, Bishop is a bust and we got to sign somebody. And I'm like, come on. Like, the guy was developing well. The guy is really athletic. He's a huge investment. He's a second-round pick. So give the guy a chance. Give the guy a chance to, if he sucks in week 1, he's bad week 2, bad week 3, bad week 4, you kind of like, okay, we got to figure it out that he's not ready, But give the guy a chance. And I feel like mostly, or kind of, I felt about Terrell Bernard. I was higher on Bernard than most people and higher on Bernard than I am on Bishop. But I'm still confident Bishop can be fine, and I believe he'll be fine playing alongside Rep, playing in the Bills' schemes, game planning, playing more zone than man, because he was matched up against a slot wide receiver. Zacchaeus is shifty. He's a small guy, shifty guy. He's performed for the Falcons, for the Commanders. A man-to-man snap against a slot receiver, a starting slot receiver. He got beat inside where he was expecting some help from the zone defender playing inside. So I can't believe people are panicking because one play in a preseason matchup in playing vanilla man coverage, like,
especially when he was playing with, second, third stringers and whatever. It's not,
That's right.
So I'd like to hear from you. Where do you stand at this safety position? I'm not out there saying, look, Bishop and Rep are the new Hayden Poyer. And we might be spoiled by all the great seasons Hayden Poyer gave us, right? But I believe they can be perfectly fine and better than Rep and Hamlin last season, because Bishop offers you more athleticism. He can run with people. He's not that kind of mismatch Hamlin is sometimes due to his athletic limitations,
I agree. He is a very interesting character. I think the biggest problem that he has right now is just the lack of reps, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
And raps, raps with rap. We got to rap with rap. Because truthfully, what we knew about Poyer and Hyde, they could read each other's minds. They could
Right.
finish each other's sentences. And this is what you need in a safety tandem. And who's to say Rapp and Bishop haven't had enough playing time together
Correct.
to create that kind of relationship? And didn't we read where they spent the winter in Buffalo together? I think
Mhm.
Bishop was at his house most of the time. They watched film, they worked out together so that they could see the game from the same perspective. So I'm with you, Fernando. I think this trashing of Bishop is way overstated. He's lacking reps. Is it Do we have to worry about him being injury prone? Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. Okay, I'm going to be honestly, they have to tackle, they have to hit people hard. So I am a little bit concerned that I hope he's not fragile, because you don't want your safeties to be fragile. But I don't I don't share the same opinion as people who are panicking about the safety position. The one thing I will ask either one of you, have you heard anything about Derek Forrest? They signed this guy, and it's like, is he even on the team?
That's
He played
basically what
like
it's been like, huh?
36 snaps, I think he played against the Bears, and I can't remember one single play. So I think it's fair to say this was a bet that didn't work out so far, or
Mhm.
hasn't worked out so far from Bean, because the guy on paper looked like
Yeah,
possible contributor, right? And again, that's another reason why it's not so easy. Like, oh, sign Justin Simons. Like, how many weeks until he's ready to play in our defense as a safety? We can see McDermott really demands from his safety to
a
know the
lot.
defense, to
Mhm.
communicate a lot, and that's why Hamlin is so valuable for them, because he's been there for the
Yeah.
longest time in the group, right? So he
Yeah.
really knows. He used it to be in the room with Hyde and Poyer. Really knows where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to do, and how to communicate with the other guys.
Mhm.
And I really like Rap. I think Rap is kind of underrated by Bills Mafia. He's not really fast, but he's a great safety.
Me too.
I really can't. I can't. I remember a lot of plays last season that would be big play touchdowns, and
Yeah.
Rap could make the tackle in space one on one as the last defender. Like against the
Mhm.
Jets, I remember plays like this. So it's a great quality to have in your safety, because he's the last line of defense, and plays that could have been touchdowns maybe became interceptions, turnovers in the red
Yep.
zone later, because he could make that play. So he's really undervalued. And also, he played with Hyde and Poyer in the last season. He
Yeah.
was a backup
Right.
and already a Super Bowl winner. So he knew, he really took advantage of that season to become a leader now. So he's really valuable for this defense, and I really can see the Bills signing somebody and having this guy playing a big role right out of the buzz. They need
It takes
people who are there.
2 years, I believe it takes. When I've watched McDermott's defenses over the years, the safety position seems to take a couple of years for players to
Mhm.
really catch on and get it. And yeah, we were so spoiled with Poyer and
We were.
Hyde. We were so spoiled. That's what makes, to be honest, it makes it a little dicey if Trey White. It would have been nice to have him. I hope he's well enough to play, because he's another part of that veteran presence that will benefit the younger guys. And even though Rap isn't necessarily young, he's relatively young in the system.
Right.
So I think it'll be interesting to see how things progress. But I'm with you about the safety position. I'm not as concerned about that as other people seem to be.
I
Yeah,
personally, Rap is one of my favorite players. So I'm always a safety girl. I love the safeties. I don't know why. But the way he hits and lays smacks on people, like that
yeah,
is exciting. Like, he's going out there, every
Smacks.
single play and giving it his all. So I really, really am high on Rap. And like you said, Hamlin will give. I think it'll be good to maybe put him in like as a rotational player if we get Cole Bishop in the mix and have him start playing better and he gets the reps, like you said. I do think he's definitely more athletic and can probably play better than Hamlin. But it would be good to switch them out maybe in the beginning. Keep switching them and so they can figure out, and so that obviously Bishop doesn't get hurt again, and I keep him fresh for now. So that might be a good idea there. But I'm a little concerned, but not, like you said, only because we've been spoiled with Hyde and Poyer.
yeah. I'm not the biggest Hamlin fan, like the player, nothing against the guy, awesome how he recovered and the job he's doing off the field. And in my ideal world, he's like the floor, the fourth safety, because he knows the defense. And you can't, there is no way you can sign somebody who will have the knowledge he has about the position in this defense, right? But the other guy that I'm high right now and I'd like to see continue to be developed, and maybe if Bishop gets hurt or rep, and I'd give him some snaps, even as a rookie, is Hancock. Hancock has been right? This guy has been really impressive.
Yes.
And I remember pre-draft when they, after the draft, when they drafted him, I was like, okay, they found their project to be the new Tyrone, because Tyrone plays such a unique role. He's all the time on the field, almost like a third linebacker sometimes, and then nickel. And Hancock is kind of like this. And now making the transition to safety, I always question why the Bills never tried like Tyrone as a safety, so he could become a safety and a nickel. But he's always on the field as a nickel. He never played three linebackers. But we don't want to take Tyrone off the field because we're going to insert a third linebacker against the Ravens and big personnel. I'd like to have Tyrone still on the field as a safety. I think he's too valuable to take out of the field, and I think he can do that. And now Hancock is showing he would be a good option there as well, because Hancock can do that. But how impressive has been Hancock so far? And would you be fine with him maybe getting opportunities as the season progresses in this situation, or you'd be more comfortable with Hamlin in his experience as a starter?
The safety room is going to be okay. There's depth, and people. With both of you, DeMar, he has limitations. He's slow. He doesn't take good angles at times, and I wonder at times how instinctive he is. But as you pointed out, he's been in the system for a long time. His first couple of years, his eyes, I remember his head was like rolling around because it's such a hard position to learn. And the only way that you can learn it is play it. And that's why I think McDermott is frustrated with Cole Bishop. And you can tell that he's mildly frustrated by the injuries, keeping him from getting the reps that he needs.
But I do think, I think that is the thing. I think there's a lot of potential in the safety room, big time potential. Hancock he was kind of all over the place this past preseason game, and everybody was excited about him. And so I'm definitely excited about him. I guess I'm not as worried as, some people about the safety position, but I trust the Bills. I trust their judgments and I trust what they're doing. And like you said, McDermott really makes the players earn their position. He just doesn't hand it to them. So who knows what it's going to look like, against the Ravens. It could switch a few times. We don't know what's going to happen. So let's see. That's what I'm saying. You know what? It's funny because when you talk about Cole Bishop too, I remember, Robyn, that you and I did a podcast years ago when Bass was when he was a rookie. And in the, first couple games, and everybody was just trashing him and saying how bad and we're like, give him a little bit of time. And sure enough, a little bit of time was all he needed,
Exactly. Exactly. That's why, especially with the rookies, you can't be too critical. You've got to wait until they come into about their third year
Yep.
for most positions. Rookie year, everything's spinning around. Second year, you see hopefully the bounce up. But the third year, like I'll just bring up his name, Dalton Kincaid.
Mhm.
Like Danyel was saying about people trashing, they trash Kincaid religiously on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And I feel frustrated about that because he had a torn PCL last year that he was trying to play through, and this is going to be his third year, I think.
Yeah.
And I think, will take that leap that third year players do. I expect bigger things out of Dalton Kincaid this year if he
Yes.
can stay healthy. And that's a question. He is kind of, I don't want to use the word frail, but he's not the biggest in the body. He's not a small guy, but he's lean. He's very lean. And I think that as he becomes a little stronger, that will help him as well.
Yeah, Bills Mafia, hit that like button, subscribe to Robyn's network channel, support us. We are out there creating content for you. So, talking about the offense, right? Since you're talking about Kincaid, and yes, I really believe it's a must to have Kincaid playing at least at the rookie season level, where it was very good and even a little bit better, right? I agree, totally agree, Robyn, that he isn't that strong tight end type, he's more like a mismatch piece, and you try
He's a
to line
slippery
him
guy.
up
Yeah.
almost like a slot, right?
Yes.
And thankfully the Bills have the perfect guy to play the dirty downs, do the dirty job in Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox can be that inline blocker and do the dirty job, so they can maybe keep Kincaid fresher for those important snaps in the passing game, right? So looking at this offensive side of the ball, James Cook's now resigned and happy, even laughing just a little bit, right? And so it seems Keon has made some strides during this offseason. Everybody seems excited about him. How do you feel about this offense? Because I've been a little bit concerned with the change in the approach, like how the Bills use it to throw the ball so much with Dable. I love that, and I think you have the best quarterback in the game. You gotta give him the keys. And now it seems the Bills try to kind of move a little bit away from it, like taking stuff, like making Josh's burden lighter, easier. Give him a run game, give him some rest, and just ask him to take over when needed, right? How do you feel about this offense, the pieces, third year for Kincaid, second year for Coleman, new pieces in Palmer, people already panicking about Moore, but it seems with Josh, he's being able to practice well,
And Tyrell Shavers is on the up and up too.
Tyrell Shavers.
I see that 80 jersey. I remember Eric Moulds, and I get excited every time.
Yep, you get excited
every time. But Tyrell Shavers, can we please put him on the 53-man roster this year, please? He has great chemistry with Josh. He's big. He's unlike any other receiver that we have. And if you want to talk about receivers, I got questions. What are we doing with Curtis Samuel?
Yeah, I think everybody's asking that question. Everybody and more. I mean, I could probably see Shavers making it over one of them for sure.
Yes, I agree.
Yep,
I agree.
But I do think Keon and Kincaid, I think I'm looking at them for a breakout season this year for both of them.
Opportunity is there, right? Great opportunity for them. We need them to step up and become those guys for Josh, right?
Yeah, and I think they will.
Excuse me, Fernando, when we were talking about tight ends, Jackson Hawes, who we drafted this year in the 5th round, I believe it was, fifth round, maybe. This is your blocking tight end. This is the guy I can hardly wait to see. He will blow people up. He will absolutely blow people up. And he's never really been tested in terms of how good of a receiver could he be, because he didn't function that way. It was Georgia Tech he played for in his last year, but went to Yale. Guy's, pretty smart dude. Got his degree from Yale and then went and played another year for Georgia Tech. It was amazing. But he is also a guy that I think people should keep their eyes on him when he's on the field, because I think he's also going to be a factor even as a rookie.
Mafia here in Brazil loves him. He's a favorite.
Really?
From
that's
draft.
awesome.
Yeah, he's a favorite here. Like when he got drafted, like Bills fans here, most of them were like best pick in the draft, best pick in the draft for most of them. Everybody loved the pick.
Love hearing that stuff.
Yeah, they loved it. And despite not having a receiver background, you can see that's a guy when he has the ball in his hands, that's not a guy you would like to tackle,
He's going to roll you over.
Yeah.
He's an animal.
So, yeah, excited to see him develop and become this complement, because Kincaid probably always will need this complementary tight end to play alongside him and play this role for him, so you can keep him fresh and keep him ready for the true passing downs and even to use him sometimes at the slot and things like that.
But how many years did we go as Bills fans without really anybody at tight end?
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm just writing about the quarter century selection. Buffalo Rumblings, and Kincaid was tight end 1 because of his rookie season.
Yep.
Like, I think I had Jerry Mearsma there as well.
Yep.
And then Knox. Like, the other options, Chandler. I love Chandler, but when you look at the numbers and things, like, it wasn't better than Kincaid or rookie Kincaid.
No.
So,
and
that's what it was a disappointment, even with some highs alongside Tyrod. He never reached the level I think everybody expected when we signed Charles Clay, right?
I would argue that we're almost a little bit spoiled right now with tight ends, to be honest. Only because we haven't had tight ends to speak of in so long. And I think we're finally putting a really good room together for that position.
I agree. And they're different types of tight ends. They're different players, so they can be interchangeable depending on matchups. You have to go back, if you really want to go back as far as tight ends go, you have to go back to Ernie Warlick from the 1960s. He was an animal. But that's how far back you have to go.
Yeah.
To find a tight end that wore a Buffalo Bills uniform that was kick-ass.
Right.
Pardon my French, but seriously. That's how far back you have to go. So
it's crazy to think about that. So I think, we're definitely a little spoiled now because we do have a really, really solid, versatile room.
Good room.
Yeah. Yeah. And Shavers, I think he really has earned it. And maybe he can even become that deep threat that we don't have in the group, because Joshua Palmer isn't really a deep threat. He was brought in to be the separator against man. We have Coleman as the contested guy, and then Shakir the yards after the catch guy, slot guy, Moore also a replacement for Shakir and Palmer as well. But we don't have a specialist like we used to have in John Brown, even Robert Foster. Robert Foster was great for Josh Allen early, when we had.
That's right. I forgot about him.
Yep, good old Foster.
Yeah, he was awesome as a deep threat, and we don't have this guy now, And Shavers has showed he can do that. He's big, he has those long strides,
He is.
Yeah. Yeah, so I hope he gets a shot because I felt like he's earned it. And then Curtis Samuel is tough because we can't just cut him. We gotta trade him to be able to open up the cap space, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills called like the Panthers or the Giants, the connections there, and like, take Samuel in a 7th or take Samuel in a 6th rounder, to just absorb that contract and open up some cap space because
Really.
it's tough. Samuel looked good in the playoffs, but he's always hurt. It's
Yes.
difficult to rely a guy like this, right?
He reminds me, and I don't know that this is the case with him, but he reminds me of what happened to Sammy Watkins.
Mm.
I would say Roscoe Parrish.
Oh gosh, I loved Roscoe.
Because
I had such big hopes for him. Poor
But-
guy.
yeah,
But the
and he
injury,
was more complimentary, you know. Like Sammy was like the number one guy, but Samuel is complimentary, gadget type of guy, like kind of like Roscoe, you know. And we always dreamed like, oh, Roscoe is so fast, he can be so good, but he always got hurt, and it was tough, right?
I forgot about him too.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. And how about the backup quarterback competition? Do you think it's fair to say Mike White already lost it last game, or maybe he can still make a push today against the Buccaneers?
I think
He's
he can
cooked.
make a push.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to make it. I think it's going to be Trubisky. But the only reason I'm saying this, I don't think that he's as strong a quarterback overall as Trubisky.
Mm-hmm.
But in fairness to him, Aaron Cromer last week was moving pieces around the whole game. He had Chris Lunt playing all the way across the line.
Yeah.
I think he played every position. And you can't do that with an offensive line. You're at least you can't expect the quarterback's not going to get
Right.
blown up. So I don't put all of that performance last week on him. I don't think he is going to win the backup job, though. I think it will be Mitch Trubisky.
Mm-hmm.
Trubisky, you could just feel in the game when you talk about the flow of the game, the Bears game was so horrible. But when Trubisky came in, you could almost feel like, okay, everybody's kind of settling down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think overall, Trubisky definitely has the upper hand. And I would urge everyone today, when they watch the Bills game today, if you're watching or listening or whatever, please don't expect anything different than what we saw against the Bears.
Right.
Because they're not going to be playing the starters. They're probably going to be doing the same thing because it's cut down day next Tuesday. So they have all the bottom part of the roster that they have to evaluate. Now, Tampa is not going to be like the Bears. They're not putting out their first team at all. So they'll have their backup. So backup versus backup is going to look kind of interesting. But I think people probably should temper their enthusiasm if they're expecting any kind of a cohesive game plan.
Right.
Not going to happen.
They're just looking to get out without any injuries, I think, at this point.
Yep.
You know.
And figure out who the last 5 to 10 players are on the roster.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, when I look at Trubisky and Mike White and remember the last time they were starters for their teams, Trubisky for the Steelers and Mike White for the Jets,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like Mike White was the better quarterback, you know, like from what I can remember. I think Mike White was more impressive, his stretch as a starter with the Jets than Trubisky with the Steelers. And that's why since he got to the Bills, I've been expecting him to make a push for Trubisky's job. But with the last game and especially Hard Knocks, they haven't been able to show a lot from the Bills. But when you see they talking about the quarterbacks and when they talk about Trubisky, is like, oh, he's been in big games. He has played and started playoff games. He's been a franchise quarterback, you know. And you add this experience to his mobility. He's more mobile than Mike White, you know, to get out of some situations or even try to replicate Josh even a little bit, you know. So I feel like Trubisky is pretty safe with his job for this season, and it would be really surprising if Mike White can take his job for this next season. And ladies, to close it out, because I don't want to take too much of your time, and I'm really glad you joined me today. But which guys do you think really surprised you or did something that changed your view about them for this during this preseason maybe got into your 53 prediction, for example, that you had before preseason and now. I gotta tell you that Shavers obviously probably the guy that has shown more that he deserves on the offense. But looking at both sides of the ball, which guys maybe you were impressed by during this preseason, and please your last thoughts before this season starts.
I would say Shavers and Hancock for me. I think they're the two that I'm looking at that, like, yeah, I think they're going to make it. Like I brought up before. So that's who I'm personally like keeping my eye on to see how they can rise through the ranks and see how far they can get.
Yeah.
For me, it would be Shavers as well, but it's just my obsession with Dion Walker.
Yes.
Dion, yes.
I have an obsession with the one technique defensive tackle that I've been begging for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And we finally have a true one technique defensive tackle. The thing that intrigues me the most and makes me the most excited about him, not just his size, it's his mobility. That dude can move. I've never seen 330 pounds move like he moves. And once he gets the system down, oh my goodness gracious, I think he's going to tear it up.
He's going to be I agree. Love Dion, and especially with the question marks about his back, right? Like how healthy is he? We were even questioning if he would play this season or if they would kind of redshirt him and put him in the injured reserve because of his back. And no, he's playing, looking like a contributor. I think he'll be able to be a contributor and be a problem in the middle of that defensive line, right? With his size, nobody has that kind of size.
You can't move that dude.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'd like to mention some guys because I think they really deserve a shout out. Like Frank Gore Jr. Loved his preseason. It's so unfortunate that fumble,
I love him.
That happens, though.
Yeah, some people are like, oh, if you fumble, you get benched. I remember Bill Belichick doing that so often, and even McDermott with James Cook early in his career, right?
Oh, for sure.
It was a perfect play by the linebacker to hit that punch right on the ball, and he was playing so well. Both games, he played really well, and kind of reminds me Fred, because he's in the fastest, he's in the biggest, but he's a football player. He can really hit the hole and run the ball, and I was impressed by Frank Gore Jr. during this preseason, and I hope he sticks around in practice squad and
I do too.
Really like what I've seen from him. And Christian Wilkerson, I've never heard of this guy before this preseason, and he looked good as a wide receiver, right? With the second stringers. And
we did hear his name quite a bit.
He can play any special teams, but as a receiver with the second team, he looked good, and he's not so young anymore. He's 27, I think, already.
Yeah.
But he took advantage of his opportunity.
Yep.
This preseason, right? So those are guys that I wanted to mention and really like to watch during preseason. Obviously, another one today, so we can check a little bit more and see if somebody can really impress and have a final push for the 53-man roster. But I just wanted to really say thank you, and I'm really glad I've been able to reunite you together here today, and to be able to make this to have this show alongside you. It's awesome. Really appreciate you taking your time, joining me, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Really appreciate it. The doors are always wide open, and whenever you want to join and talk, the Mavens are welcome here in the Leading the Charge.
Oh,
thank you, Fernando.
We can do this again.
I do. Oh, absolutely. I'm down for that. For sure.
Let's do this again, Fernando. There is something about Danyel and I when we would talk, we just kind of did that thing. And same with you, Fernando.
Yes.
You speak our language, right? You speak our language, and I enjoy reading what you write. I enjoy. Oh, I do. And I'm looking forward to this season to see what your thoughts are in terms of how things progress. And I'm a little bit relieved because talking to both of you makes me feel better about where my head is at, because I'm sharing many of the same views, especially about the Ravens game.
Yeah. Even if it's tough, it's not. It's just the beginning. All
Right.
season
Exactly, only
long.
one game.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident we can have a very good season again. To be honest, my questions about this team are always the same. Like in the playoffs, how well they can play there, if they can finally get through those Chiefs, and if McDermott can finally fool Andy Reid a little bit. It looks like Andy Reid really knows his former defensive coordinator.
Right.
But
It's not really about getting to the playoffs. It's more of how can they get over that big hump and get to the Super Bowl now.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's stay confident and rooting for them. I think the chance is there. We are, just like Bean says, we are knocking on the door. So we gotta hope at some time it works, and maybe that's the year with a happier Josh and some
think about
new guys.
People are saying, like, if we do happen to win the Super Bowl this year, we can hang that banner in the new stadium. That just sounds poetic.
It would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please make it happen. Let's manifest it into existence.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. That's it. Awesome. Thank you, Bills Mafia, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this chat. It was awesome. And I'll be back tomorrow with the Leading the Charge in Portuguese. Anytime you want to join me in Portuguese as well, Robyn and Danyel, it will be a pleasure. Bills Mafia Brazil, love it. Okay. I don't know if you can say something in Portuguese. Maybe vai Bills is like go Bills.
Sure.
Okay. I'll practice.
Awesome. Okay, Bills Mafia, thank you so much. Hit that like button, subscribe to Rumblings Network channel, my own Fernando Schmude's channel on YouTube as well. And so that's it. See you around. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Love you.